Greetings, fellow Gravewalkers, and welcome back to another video. For over a year now, I've wanted to do a video on all the gear sets in Shadow of War. However, the Hammer of War has eluded me, and I'm proud to say, I've given up! And I'm just gonna do it without it, because it doesn't change much. I'm sure I'll get it at some point. Maybe. So let's get into it. To start, let's talk about how you get each legendary gear set. This gear is acquired by killing legendary orcs of specific tribes and classes. You can find out which class needs to be killed to get which gear piece by going into your inventory, scrolling over to the hide gear symbol, and selecting it. This will open the legendary gear sets screen. Then just go to whichever tribe you want to find a gear piece for and select it. This will open that tribe set, and then you just go to whatever gear piece you want, and it'll say which class must be killed to get the item. Easily the best way to get gear is online sieges, which will sometimes be all legendaries in higher ranks. The first gear set we'll look at is the Darkest set. This is the set of the Dark Tribe. All legendary gear has a hard-baked main effect and a secondary effect that can be re-rolled. The effect in purple is the hard-baked effect, and the gray can be re-rolled. For the Darkest Sword, the main legendary effect, at max level 80, is increasing poison damage done to enemies by 33%. This 33% increase effect is shared by 4 out of the 6 pieces in the Darkest set. These being the sword, dagger, bow, and cloak. The armor grants a 50% chance to poison enemies when they hit you, and the ring causes enemies to remain poisoned for 77% longer. Each gear set also has a set bonus. These effects can be viewed in each gear piece and the legendary gear sets. Each tribe has 2 set bonuses for wearing a certain number of whatever set. The first is for wearing 2 pieces of a set, and the second is for wearing 4 of a set. The first bonus of the Dark set is gain 1 might when enemies take damage from poison you inflicted on them. The second is all attacks have a 15% chance to inflict an explosive poison on grunts. The second gear set is the Feral set, also known as the Of Beasts set. All pieces of the Feral set reduce the cooldown time of Call Mount. The first set bonus allows you to Shadow Mount Unbroken Graugs, and the second allows you to Shadow Mount Unbroken Drakes. While the Feral set looks pretty cool, its effects aren't super useful. The next is the Machine Tribe. The sword causes glaive attacks to create an explosion. The dagger makes quick throw create an explosion every 8 seconds. The hammer causes headshots to create an explosion, and the armor, cloak, and ring each give a 25% chance for dead enemies to explode. The first causes Call Followers to summon sappers, and Iron Guard to summon even more. The second scatters explosions around when using Elven Light. The fourth set is the Raider set. Obviously, this is the set of the Marauders. This gear is incredibly simple. Every piece causes killed enemies to have a higher chance of dropping Mirian. The sword, dagger, and hammer each give a bonus 40% chance for enemies killed by one of them to drop Mirian. The armor causes all enemies killed to gain a bonus 25% chance of dropping Mirian. The cloak causes enemies killed by beasts to gain a 40% chance, and the ring causes enemies killed by followers to gain a 40% chance. The first set bonus makes picking up Miriam increase damage by 2% per Miriam collected for 20 seconds. The second causes you to regenerate 2 health per Miriam picked up. Next is the Arcane set. This gear is claimed from the Mystic Tribe. The sword, dagger, and bow each cause that weapon's respective focus-consuming chain ability, those being Wraith Execution, Wraith Chain, and Chain of Shadows, to consume 40% less focus. The armor, cloak, and ring all reduce the Call Followers cooldown by 25%. The first set bonus is Ally Grunts take 50% less damage, and the second gives Ally Grunts Cursed Weapons. Weapons. Haha, speech impediment moment. Why does this always happen? The Horrors set is next. Of course, this is the Terror Tribe. The sword causes melee to inflict curse for 10 seconds after using a brutal execution. The dagger makes stealth drain explode enemy heads, causing nearby enemies to flee. The bow explodes enemy heads when fully charged, causing nearby orcs to flee. The armor and cloak both allow you to regenerate health per second when cursed. And lastly, the ring causes Consume to explode heads, which once again causes orcs to flee in terror. The first set bonus causes Quick Throw to instantly kill fleeing grunts. The second makes you regenerate 200 health when killing a fleeing orc. Next up is the War set. This gear belongs to the Warmonger tribe. The sword, dagger, and hammer light enemies on fire. The sword from executions, the dagger from stealth attacks, and the hammer from charged shots. Not just headshots. The armor, cloak, and ring cause you to regenerate 10 health per second while on fire. The first set bonus makes you regenerate 50 health when killing an enemy who is on fire, and the second will make periodic explosions around you while on fire, releasing bursts of flame that quite literally burn orcs to a crisp. Charred orc. That does not sound like it's gonna smell good. Blood Gear is up next, and it belongs to the Slaughter Tribe. This set is extremely easy to explain, as every piece has the same effect. Regenerate 15 health when killing an enemy. The reason for this is the set bonuses, as the first slowly drains your health in exchange for increasing your damage by 40% after using Drain or Dominate. The second causes you to gain 40% increase in damage when beasts and followers are around, but their health slowly drains. The Slaughter set is quite literally blood for power, which is kind of cool. You know, I'm editing this, and I think blood for power might just be the most metal thing I have ever said in a video. The last basic legendary set is the Blackguard gear belonging to the Outlaw tribe. This set is incredibly useful if fighting orcs who are enraged easily, as they all allow you to do increased damage against them. The sword does an extra 55% more damage against the enraged, the dagger does 90%, the bow does 55%, the armor lets you take 55% less damage from the enraged, and the cloak and ring each have a 100% increase. The cloak does it for beasts, so they'll do 100% increased damage against enraged, and the ring will cause followers to do 100% increased damage against the enraged. The first set bonus gives a 25% chance to inflict fire, frost, poison, or curse on an enemy, and the second causes follower attacks to have 20% chance to inflict an element on enemies. Now we get to special gear that can be gotten in very specific ways, these being the Ringwraith set, the Bright Lord set, and the Vendetta set. The Ringwraith set can only be obtained in the Shadow Wars. Some are given immediately, and others you must beat the Shadow Wars to get. The sword Urfiel causes enemies killed by melee attacks to have a 25% chance to resurrect as allies. The dagger Acharn gives a 50% chance for grunts killed by stealth attacks to resurrect as allies. And charge throws from Helm's Hammer heal undead enemies. No, that's not meant to say enemies, that's meant to say allies. I really messed that up. How did that happen? There's two armors for the Ringwraith set, the Servant's Armor and the Blackened Servant's Armor. The base Servant's Armor grants 66% less damage from undead enemies, and the Blackened variant, earned for beating the Shadow Wars, causes allied grunts to have a 40% chance to resurrect when they die. Next, there are 6 different cloaks. The first, Dark Embrace, causes Raised Dead to make enemies flee in terror. The Mask of an Empress causes chain abilities to deal 33% more damage with each successive kill. The Mask of the Fell Rider simply causes Graug Call to summon an elemental Graug, depending on region. The Mask of the General causes Consume and Drain to create a Curse Explosion. The Mask of the High King causes Raise Dead to summon Gondorian Wights instead of raising dead orcs. And lastly, the Mask of the Undying will increase melee and stealth damage by 33% for a few seconds after using either Waters of Lorien or Spectral Dash, and both will consume no focus. Last up is Isildur's Ring, which simply increases Raise Dead radius. The first set bonus causes Call Followers and Iron Guard to summon undead orcs, and the second causes you to regenerate 20 health when a nearby undead follower dies. The Vendetta set is unlocked by completing online vendettas in certain ways. The Sword of Vengeance is unlocked by completing your first online vendetta, and causes melee damage to increase by 33% when health is below 35%. The Dagger of Vengeance is unlocked by stealth killing an online vendetta, and increases stealth damage by 35% when health falls below 35%. The Longbow of Vengeance is gotten by killing an online vendetta with a ranged attack, and increases damage by 33% when health is below 35%. Killing an online vendetta while above 80% health grants you the Armor of Vengeance, increasing damage by 15% when below 35% health. Killing an online vendetta while riding a beast gives you the Cloak of Vengeance, which has the same effect as the armor. And lastly, the Rune of Vengeance is gotten by recruiting an online vendetta, and the same as armor and cloak. The first set bonus is performing might attacks by consuming 40% of your max health. The second allows you to consume 25% of your max health to use Elf Shot. And now the last gear set, the Bright Lord set. This set is acquired through the different Ithilden doors around the regions. Collect all 6 words and solve the door to get pieces, except the hammer and ring. The Bright Lord's sword gives gain 10 wrath after an Ice Storm finisher. The The Bright Lord's Dagger allows you to gain 30 wrath when stealth killing a frozen enemy. There's 2 ranged weapons for the Bright Lord, though, a hammer and a bow. The Bright Lord's bow recovers 15 health when killing an orc with it. The hammer can be acquired by getting a gold rating on every Shadows of the Past mission, the missions where you relive Celebrimbor's war against Sauron. Charged attacks with the hammer freeze nearby enemies. The Bright Lord's armor gives you 3 wrath when hit, and the Bright Lord's cloak and ring gives 1 wrath when killing a frozen enemy. The ring can only be gotten through getting at least a bronze rating on all Shadows of the Past missions. The first set bonus allows you to gain wrath 50% faster, but Elven Rage and Ring Wraith last half as long. The second replenishes all Elf Shot when getting a kill in Elven Rage or Ring Wraith. Now that all the gear is out of the way, let's talk about interesting things in their appearances. Many gear sets are the same models, just with swapped color palettes, the most notable being the Dark, Terror, Vendetta, and Ring Wraith. These sets all use the exact same models, just with varied colors. The next is Mystic, Slaughter, and the Bright Lord. Slaughter is the most different here, with vibrant red instead of a blue shade. Then there's Feral and Marauder, and Warmonger and Machine. The only fully unique armor model is the Outlaw. This set doesn't share a model with any other sets, making it the only fully unique design. There's no problem with this, it's just a neat detail you might not have noticed. That just about wraps up everything with legendary gear, but if you made it this far, I'll let you have a listen to an orc I met along the way. Chatting something about the undead of Middle-earth made no sense, but maybe you can all figure out what he means.
Alright, Bright Lord. Basically, I was talking to Blog the Dark when he was back in Udoon. Said he was walking around, patrolling the back gate. Ended up coming across a pink skin wandering around. Pink Skin said he was looking for information about Nazgul and Orc Revenants. Said he'd already found out stuff about some army of the dead and Barrow Whites. Said he was making a compilation about the undead of Mordor and beyond. Not sure what it was about, but thought you'd find that right interesting.
And with that, we've come to the end of this video. If you did enjoy, consider hitting the like button down below, as it tells me you liked the video. And if you like what I do and want more of it, consider subscribing for more. With that, I will see you all next time.